doesn't matter if the world is going mad, if we just hold on, if we just hold on, yeah. Sing it louder just to let the world know. No, we're not.
Foster care is less about getting a child for a family and more about giving your family for a child. Jason Johnson. What's going on, everyone? Dustin Gruss, the Greatness Facilitator, here with another one of our life lessons videos here at Step Up to Greatness. Normally my goal with these videos is to encourage you how to improve your life, motivate you, inspire you. This week, gonna do a little bit different. It's foster care month, and being a foster parent now for nearly a year, it's something that's near and dear to my heart, and I wanted to let you guys know a little bit more about the foster system and encourage you, instead of me encouraging you how to improve your life, letting you know that you can help greatly impact the lives of so many children in need and families in need really as well. If you've watched some of my other videos or even know who I am, then you know a little bit about my wife and my story. But this weekend, about 4 years ago, my wife and I were wrapping up our honeymoon in Virginia Beach, and while we were reluctant to leave the beach, we were very excited to get to our life as a new happy married couple. 7 months later, we found out our news of our infertility, and it was devastating to us. It was on just our second date where we said that kids was a non-negotiable. We both had to have them. So when that dream and that image, that picture perfect idea of a family was taken away from us, we were devastated. And it took us about a year and a half of denial and depression, frustration, confusion, just sadness and grief, for us to really get to a completely different place where suddenly the idea of becoming foster parents and helping children in need really started to resonate with us, in part thanks to our dog Eva, who helped make us parents to begin with, pet parents, but parents nonetheless. But we decided that it was time for us to open up our home to someone else and to some children, and we decided, you know what, we're gonna do it. So we started the pre-licensing process, and then about 6 months later we were licensed. The day we received our license, we also received a call saying they had 2 kids in need of a home. We took those 2 in. They were with us for about 7 weeks. Then we took a month off, and then we got our next placement, who's been with us for 8 months now, and that brings us to about a year almost that we've been foster parents. It's been one of the most difficult years, but it's also been one of the most rewarding years of our lives. The unconditional love that we not only get to give this child and the 2 children before, but also receive that love back, see the milestones that these kids achieve as they're growing in our care. Especially now with COVID, normally our child would be in a daycare, and we would be working. But because of COVID-19, I'm home and I'm able to be with our foster son throughout the day and see all the milestones that he's reaching and he's having. And it's just been such a blessing, and just the smiles and the giggles and the love that we receive from him, it's amazing. So what I want to do with this life lessons video again is encourage you to let you know there's ways that you can help out others, one of which is you can absolutely look into becoming a foster parent. So I want to dispel a few myths that there are when it comes to being a foster parent. One, there's the myth that the parents are druggies and that the kids are lucky to have us as foster parents. One, the parents, yes, the opioid epidemic is such a prevalent thing right now, but there's many reasons why kids are removed from their homes, and not all of them have to do with drugs, but any which reason that the kids are removed from their home is not a good reason. It's not a good thing. So these kids aren't lucky to have us as foster parents, because honestly, any kid taken from their home, that's not luck. They should be with their family. So one thing I always tell people is, anytime they say these kids are lucky to have us, thank you for the compliment, but they're not lucky to have us. We can be a blessing to these children for the time they're in our care, but they're not lucky to have us. We can be a blessing to them. Next, most of the children in foster care are teenagers. That is also false. It is actually only about 32% of the kids in foster care are teenagers. That means there's about 38% of kids in foster care are teenagers. That means 62% of the children in foster system are actually ages 10 and under. So it is not all teenagers. So if you are thinking that you don't want to be a foster parent because you don't think you can handle a teenager, there's plenty of kids younger that need assistance as well. There's the idea that plenty of people are already helping. Well, here in Ohio alone, there is over 16,500 kids in the foster system. In Ohio alone. If you are watching from somewhere else, please check, your state. But 16,500 kids in Ohio alone, and there's only about 8,000 licensed foster homes. For all these kids in the foster system to be able to be in a home, in a house setting, that would mean each foster parent has to have at least 2 kids in their home. And I can tell you from our first placement, 2 kids is a handful. It's a lot. So there's many kids that need assistance. We need so many more foster parents. So hope you'll consider stepping up. If you have questions about this system at all, feel free to message me through this. My wife and I are always happy to talk to anyone about any questions they might have about becoming foster parents. Then the final myth is there's nothing I can do to help. Even if you don't think you want to be a foster parent, there's plenty of amazing organizations and nonprofits and ways to help. You can be helping not only the foster kids, but the foster parents themselves. We are fortunate and blessed to have not only a great support system of friends and family around us, but we also are blessed to have a local organization here called Cleveland Angels, where there's a family gets paired up with different foster families, and they provide a love box each month full of supplies and things needed for the baby. Our family has been fortunate enough to or been kind enough to give us gift cards for groceries. They offered to babysit our foster baby and give us a night out on a date. Unfortunately, COVID happened, so that date ended up being a night in, and we still, of course, have the baby. But it's just an amazing organization, getting a love box each month and encouraging notes and letters from them. It's such a blessing. So that's a local one here, Cleveland Angels. There might be something around you where you're at, or you can always start something up. There's also other organizations like Royal Family Kids. Our church takes part in a camp called Royal Family Kids Camp, where they take over 30 kids that are in the foster system to a local camp for a week to love on them, to teach them how to ride bikes, to celebrate birthdays, have a talent show, and really just make sure the kids feel safe and loved and have fun. It's an amazing organization, and it's all over the place, so look up Royal Family Kids. There's also other organizations like Together We Rise. There's the Forgotten Initiative. Those are a couple I've just recently come across on social media. Then there's the Dave Thomas Foundation. Dave Thomas, the founder of Wendy's, was huge when it came to fostering and adoption. So look into the Dave Thomas Foundation for all the amazing things that they do. And then a guest I had on one of my podcast episodes before, and I've been a guest on his, Jamal Callahan. He is an amazing activist, person involved with change within the government, everything. He does just amazing things, has great connections, and he has been a huge part of what's called the FYI, which is the Foster Youth to Independence Initiative. And what that does is it provides housing to kids that age out of the foster system. A lot of times if there's a kid in foster care that suddenly turns 18, and which means that they are no longer eligible for fostering benefits, which means the family that has a foster kid in, if they're unable to receive benefits as well, a lot of those kids end up out on the street, homeless, and it's a shame. It's just terrible. No one should be without a home, especially these foster kids that simply age out. They survived all those years bouncing around, and now you're going to toss them out on the street. It's amazing. FYI, Foster Youth to Independence Initiative. So make sure you look that up. Contact your congressman. I know Ben Carson was a big proponent of that. Mike DeWine here in Ohio also. So just amazing things. So there's plenty of things that you can do to help as well. Again, if you ever have any questions about foster care, please let myself know. I'm more than happy to talk about it, comment, reach out, any of those things. But it's Foster Care Month. There's plenty of ways for you to help out. Plenty of kids in need of help as well. So I just pray that you will open up your hearts, open up your homes, or open up your mind to other ways that you can help. So that's what I got for life lessons this week. Again, not necessarily going to motivate or inspire you. Hopefully I inspire you to help create change, and help a lot of those kids in need find homes and find shelter and find hope, so that no matter what they're faced with, just as I tell you, that we can all tell them to keep moving forward and step up to greatness.